Grace Gold stood in front of the full-length mirror in their sole apartment, her dark skin glistening with tears that refused to stop falling. The burgundy dress she'd bought for their anniversary dinner hung perfectly on her curves, accentuating her full hips and generous bust. She'd felt beautiful when she put it on, radiant even. But that was before Alfred came home. "You're wearing that?" Alfred's voice had dripped with contempt as he walked through the door, barely glancing at her. "Grace, come on. You know red makes you look bigger. 7 years. 7 years of marriage, and somehow, the insults still managed to cut deeper each time. "I thought you'd like it," she'd whispered, smoothing down the fabric over her stomach self-consciously. "It's our anniversary." "Anniversary?" He'd laughed, that cruel, dismissive laugh she'd grown to hate. "Grace, I told you I have plans tonight. Important business dinner." That's when she'd seen it. The faintest trace of peach-colored lipstick on his collar. The same shade she'd seen on G1, his Korean secretary, just last week when she'd stopped by his office with lunch. "Business dinner," she'd repeated flatly. "With G1." Alfred's eyes had flashed with irritation. "Don't start with your insecure jealousy again. Maybe if you spent less time eating and more time at the gym, I wouldn't need to." He'd stopped himself, but the damage was done. Wouldn't need to what, Alfred? Grace Gold had felt something shift inside her chest. Something final. Wouldn't need to sleep with your secretary? The one who's half my size and looks like a K-pop idol. Don't be dramatic. "I found the hotel receipts," she'd said quietly. 3 months worth. The Grand Hyatt, the Shilla, the Four Seasons. "Should I go on?" Alfred had actually rolled his eyes. "What do you want me to say, Grace? You've let yourself go. Look at you. You're twice the size you were when we got married. G1 takes care of herself. She's beautiful." Grace Gold had finished for him, her voice eerily calm. "Thin. Everything I'm not. I didn't say that. You didn't have to." She'd walked to their bedroom, pulled out the divorce papers she'd had drawn up 2 weeks ago, and placed them on the kitchen counter. "Sign them." Alfred had stared at the papers, then burst out laughing. "You're joking, right? This is some kind of stunt to get my attention? Grace, be realistic. You can't survive without me. Who's going to want a woman your size? You'll come crawling back within a month. Sign the papers." Alfred. He'd scrawled his signature with a smirk, supremely confident. "Fine. When you realize what a mistake this is, don't come crying to me. Good luck finding anyone who'll put up with all of this." He gestured vaguely at her body before grabbing his coat and walking out. That had been 3 weeks ago. The gym was intimidating. Grace Gold stood outside Elite Fitness Seoul, clutching her new gym bag like a lifeline. The building was all glass and chrome, impossibly modern, filled with impossibly fit people. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, she could see rows of treadmills, weight machines, and lithe bodies moving with practiced ease. "You can do this," she told herself. "You're not doing this to change yourself. You're doing this to feel strong, to feel powerful, to remember who you were before Alfred spent 7 years trying to diminish you." She pushed through the doors. "Welcome to Elite Fitness." A cheerful woman at the front desk greeted her in Korean, then switched seamlessly to English when she noticed Grace Gold's hesitation. "First time here?" "Yes," Grace Gold managed. "I have a trial membership." "Perfect. Let me show you around. I'm Hannah, by the way." Hannah was kind, patient, and blessedly free of judgment as she walked Grace Gold through the facilities. The gym was even more impressive inside. An Olympic-sized pool, a yoga studio, private training rooms, and a smoothie bar that looked like something out of a magazine. "We have classes every hour," Hannah explained. "Yoga, Zumba, kickboxing, Pilates. Or you can work with a personal trainer. We also have Hannah had stopped abruptly, and Grace Gold nearly ran into her. A man was walking toward them. No, walking was too mundane a word. He moved with the kind of unconscious grace that turned heads, tall and broad-shouldered, dressed in simple black workout clothes that somehow looked designer. His face was all sharp angles and smooth skin, dark hair slightly damp with sweat, dark eyes focused on his phone until he looked up. and locked eyes with Grace Gold. Time seemed to slow. Grace Gold felt her breath catch as those dark eyes swept over her. Not with Alfred's disdain, not with pity or judgment, but with something that looked almost like appreciation? "Mr. Park," Hannah practically squeaked. "I didn't know you were here today. Your trainer said you'd canceled." "I came in early," he said, his voice deep and smooth with a hint of an accent. His eyes never left Grace Gold's face. "Changed my mind." "Mr. Park, this is," Hannah started. "Grace Gold," she said, finding her voice and extending her hand. "Grace." His hand engulfed hers, warm, slightly rough with calluses. "Park Min-jae," he said and smiled. It was devastating. "But please call me Min-jae. Are you new to Elite?" "First day," she admitted. "Still figuring out where everything is." "The best advice I can give?" He leaned in slightly, conspiratorially. "Ignore everyone else. They're all too focused on themselves to notice anyone else anyway. Just focus on yourself, what makes you feel good. That's what matters." It was such a simple statement, but something about the way he said it, the earnestness in his eyes, made Grace Gold believe him. "Thank you," she said softly. "I needed to hear that." Min-jae held her gaze for a moment longer, then nodded. "Perhaps I'll see you around, Grace Gold." The way he said her full name, with careful precision, made something flutter in her chest. As he walked away, Hannah let out a breath. "Do you know who that was?" "Park Min-jae," Grace Gold repeated. "Should I?" "That's Park Min-jae. The Park Min-jae. He owns this gym, and about 20 other businesses. Hotels, restaurants, tech companies. He's one of the wealthiest men in Seoul. And Hannah looked starstruck. "He never talks to anyone here. He comes in, works out, and leaves. I've worked here for 2 years, and that's the most I've ever heard him say to a member." Grace Gold glanced back, but Min-jae had disappeared into one of the private training rooms. "Huh," she said, trying to ignore the way her heart was still racing. Interesting. 3 weeks into her gym routine, and Grace Gold was beginning to feel like herself again. Not because she'd lost weight, though her body was getting stronger, more toned, but because she'd found something she'd lost during her marriage. Discipline, routine, a sense of accomplishment. Every morning, she arrived at Elite Fitness at 6 a.m., before the crowds. She'd warm up on the elliptical, move to the weight machines, and end with stretches in the yoga studio. It was meditative, empowering. And every morning, without fail, Park Min-jae was there. At first, she'd thought it was coincidence. But after the 3rd week of exchanging polite nods, then brief hellos, then gradually longer conversations by the water fountain, she began to suspect otherwise. "You're here early again," Min-jae observed one Thursday morning, toweling off his face as he approached her stretching mat. "Dedicated," says the man who owns the place, Grace Gold countered, smiling. "Shouldn't you be sleeping in on piles of money or something?" He laughed, a genuine, surprised sound. "The money sleeps better without me on it. Besides, this is the best time. Quiet. Peaceful." He paused. Good company. Was he flirting? Grace Gold felt heat rise in her cheeks. "I like the morning crowd. Very exclusive. Just me, you, and that guy who grunts really loudly by the bench press." "Ah, yes. Mr. Kim. He's here every day at 5:30. I think he's training for something Olympic adjacent." Min-jae sat down on the mat beside her. Not close enough to be presumptuous, but close enough that she could smell his cologne. Something expensive and woody. "How are you finding Elite? Is it meeting your expectations?" "Exceeding them," Grace Gold said honestly. "I wasn't sure I'd stick with it, but I actually look forward to coming here now. It's become my therapy session." Something shifted in Min-jae's expression, a softness, an understanding. "I know what you mean. After my divorce, this place became my sanctuary. Work out the stress, work out the anger, work out the hurt." He met her eyes. Sometimes physical strength helps build emotional strength. "You're divorced?" The words slipped out before she could stop them. "Sorry, that's too personal." "It's fine." Min-jae's smile was wry. 2 years ago. She wanted the lifestyle, but not the man. I learned that love can't be bought, only earned. It was an expensive lesson in many ways. Grace Gold felt a surge of kinship. I'm separated, soon to be divorced. He wanted someone different, someone smaller, someone not me. Min-jae's jaw tightened. Then he's a fool. The conviction in his voice startled her. You don't even know me. I know you show up every morning at 6 a.m. with determination in your eyes, Min-jae said quietly. I know you help that elderly lady with the weight machines, even though you're still learning yourself. I know you're kind to the staff, and you laugh at yourself when you trip on the elliptical. I know that you're beautiful. He stopped, as if surprised by his own words. Grace Gold's heart was pounding. Min-jae, have coffee with me, he said suddenly. Not here. Somewhere else. Let me take you to breakfast after our workout tomorrow. Please. She should say no. She was still technically married. She was fresh out of a devastating relationship. She was vulnerable, emotionally raw, not ready for. Yes, she heard herself say. Tomorrow. I'd like that. His smile could have powered the entire city. The cafe Min-jae chose was tucked away in Gil, a tree-lined street in the trendy Gangnam district. It was small, intimate, with walls covered in local artwork and the rich aroma of fresh-baked pastries filling the air. This is beautiful, Grace Gold said as Min-jae pulled out her chair. How did you find this place? I own it, he admitted with a sheepish smile. But I promise I chose it because it has the best croissants in Seoul, not to show off. You own a lot of things, she observed, accepting the menu from a waitress who bowed respectfully to Min-jae. Guilty. But I prefer to think of it as, I employ a lot of people. That sounds less corporate villainesque. He leaned forward, resting his chin on his hand. Tell me about yourself, Grace Gold. Where are you from? How did you end up in Seoul? Over coffee and the promised croissants, which were indeed incredible. Grace Gold found herself opening up in ways she hadn't with anyone in years. She told him about growing up in Atlanta, her love of literature that led her to study English literature in college. She told him about meeting Alfred during a study abroad program in Seoul, how he'd seemed worldly and sophisticated, how she'd been young and in love and naive enough to believe that moving to Korea for him was romantic rather than isolating. He made me feel small, she heard herself admit, staring into her cappuccino. Not physically small, the opposite. He made me feel like I took up too much space. Like I was too much. Too loud, too curvy, too black, too everything. And I believed him. For 7 years, I made myself smaller, quieter, less opinionated, less me, trying to be enough for him. But I was never going to be G1. G1. Min-jae's voice was carefully neutral. His secretary. Mistress. Whatever you want to call her. 23, 90 pounds. Looks like she stepped out of a K-drama. Everything I'm not. Min-jae was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached across the table and took her hand. His touch was gentle, but his voice was steel. Grace Gold, look at me. She lifted her eyes to his. You are stunning, he said simply. You walk into a room and the air changes. Your skin is like silk in sunlight. Your curves are art, classical, powerful, feminine. Your laugh sounds like music. Your intelligence shines through every word you speak. Any man who made you feel less than extraordinary is not just a fool, he's blind. Tears pricked at her eyes. Min-jae, I'm not finished. His thumb traced circles on her palm. I've dated models, actresses, socialites. Women whose beauty was their currency. And they were beautiful, I won't lie. But beauty without substance is just decoration. You, Grace Gold? You have both. And more than that, you have strength. You have courage. You chose yourself when staying would have been easier. That's rare. That's precious. A tear escaped, rolling down her cheek. Min-jae reached up and gently wiped it away. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm not usually this emotional. Don't apologize. Not for feeling. Not for being human. He smiled softly. Besides, I told you, this is your therapy session. Consider me your very handsome, very rich therapy gym equipment. She laughed through her tears. That's the worst analogy I've ever heard. See, you're helping me already. My metaphors need work. They sat there for 3 hours, talking about everything and nothing. Min-jae told her about building his business empire from a single restaurant his grandmother left him, about the pressure of family expectations, about learning to value himself beyond his net worth. They discovered a shared love of mystery novels, a mutual hatred of seafood, ironic, given they lived in Korea, and an identical tendency to quote movies at inappropriate moments. When they finally left the cafe, the sun was high in the sky, and Grace Gold felt lighter than she had in years. Can I see you again? Min-jae asked as they stood on the sidewalk, the autumn breeze playing with her hair. Not at the gym. Not at my cafe. Somewhere neutral, so you don't think I'm just showing off my property portfolio. You could show me your yacht next, Grace Gold teased. Really complete the billionaire stereotype. I don't have a yacht. I get seasick. He grinned. How about dinner? Tomorrow night? There's a Nigerian restaurant in Itaewon I've been wanting to try, but I don't want to go alone. I need someone to tell me if I'm eating it wrong. The thoughtfulness of choosing a place that might feel like home to her made Grace Gold's chest tight. Tomorrow night. Pick me up at 7. She gave him her address, and he programmed it into his phone with the focus of someone inputting nuclear launch codes. 7 o'clock, he confirmed. I'll be there. And Grace Gold. Yes. Thank you for coffee. He seemed to search for words. This was the best morning I've had in a very long time. As she watched him walk to his car, a modest black sedan, not the flashy sports car she'd expected, Grace Gold realized she was smiling. And she couldn't remember the last time that had happened naturally. The text came at midnight, jolting Grace Gold from sleep. Alfred, I made a mistake. We need to talk. She stared at her phone in the darkness, her stomach churning. 3 weeks of silence, and now this? Alfred, Grace, please. I miss you. I miss us. Can we meet for coffee? Alfred, G1 means nothing to me. It was a mistake. You are my wife. Alfred, I saw you with him. That Korean guy. You're trying to make me jealous, aren't you? It's working, baby. Come home. Her blood ran cold. He'd been watching her? Grace, don't contact me again. We're done. Alfred, you don't mean that. You need me, Grace. You can't make it on your own. Who's going to take care of you? This billionaire fantasy? Men like that don't date women like you. They use women like you. Wake up. Her finger hovered over the block button, but something stopped her. Instead, she screenshotted the messages and turned off her phone. She didn't sleep for the rest of the night. You look tired, Min-jae observed gently the next evening as he helped her into his car. Everything okay? Grace Gold had debated telling him about Alfred's messages. They'd only known each other a few weeks. She didn't want to scare him off with ex-husband drama. But looking at his concerned face, his genuine care, she found herself wanting to be honest. My ex contacted me last night, she said as he pulled into traffic. Multiple times. He's been watching me. He saw us together, and he wasn't happy about it. Min-jae's hands tightened on the steering wheel. What did he say? She showed him the screenshots. With each message, his expression grew darker. This is harassment, he said flatly. And the implicit threat. Men like that don't date women like you. Grace, this isn't okay. Min-jae was quiet for a moment, navigating the Seoul traffic with practiced ease. Then he pulled into a parking space, turned off the engine, and faced her fully. Grace Gold, I need you to understand something. I'm not dating you to make anyone jealous. I'm not using you. I'm not going to wake up one day and decide you're not enough. He took her hand. I'm here because when I'm with you, I feel more like myself than I have in years. You make me laugh. You challenge me. You see me as Min-jae, not Park Min-jae the billionaire. Do you understand? She nodded, throat tight with emotion. As for your ex? Min-jae's voice turned cool. If he contacts you again, I have a very good legal team. But I won't push. This is your decision. I just want you to know you have options. You have support. You're not alone in this. Why? The question burst out of her. Why are you so good to me? We barely know each other. I know enough, he said simply. I know that you're extraordinary. And I know that I want to keep getting to know you, if you'll let me. No pressure. No expectations. Just let me show you how you deserve to be treated. Please. This time, when the tears came, they were happy. Dinner at the Nigerian restaurant was a revelation. Min-jae tried everything with adventurous enthusiasm, asking questions about each dish, genuinely interested in her culture. He fumbled with the fufu, laughed when the pepper soup made his eyes water, and declared the jollof rice better than any Korean rice dish. Don't tell my mother I said that. This is amazing, he said, gesturing at the spread of food. Why don't you cook like this? Who says I don't? Grace Gold challenged. You've never had my cooking. Is that an invitation? Maybe. She smiled. If you're brave enough to risk it. I'm brave enough to risk anything if it means spending time with you. The sincerity in his voice made her chest warm. As the evening progressed, she found herself relaxing completely, laughing freely, touching his arm without overthinking it. Min-jae was attentive without being overbearing, funny without trying too hard, intelligent without being condescending. She realized with a start, everything Alfred had never been. Can I ask you something personal? Min-jae said as they shared dessert, a rich chocolate cake that melted on the tongue. Depends on the question. Why did you stay with him for so long? Alfred, you're clearly strong enough to leave. You proved that. So what kept you? Grace Gold considered the question carefully. Fear, mostly. Fear that he was right, that I couldn't do better. That I was lucky to have him at all. Fear of being alone in a foreign country. Fear of starting over. She met his eyes. And maybe a little bit of hope. Hope that the man I married was still in there somewhere. That he'd wake up and remember how to love me. But he didn't. No, he didn't. She took a breath. But leaving him taught me something important. I don't need someone to complete me. I was complete all along. Now I'm just choosing to share my completeness with someone who appreciates it. Min-jae's smile was radiant. I appreciate it, he said softly. More than you know. When he dropped her off at her apartment, he walked her to the door like a gentleman. As she unlocked it, he caught her hand. Grace Gold. Yes. Would it be okay if I kissed you goodnight? Her heart skipped. Yes, she breathed. Yes, it would be very okay. He cupped her face gently, as if she were something precious, and kissed her with a tenderness that made her knees weak. It was perfect, sweet, unhurried, full of promise. When he pulled back, his eyes were warm. Good night, beautiful. Good night, Min-jae. As she closed the door behind her, leaning against it with a dopey smile on her face, her phone buzzed. Alfred, I know where you live. We're not done talking. Her smile disappeared. Alfred showed up 3 days later. Grace Gold was leaving for the gym when she found him in the lobby of her apartment building, looking haggard and determined. He'd lost weight, she noticed distantly. His face was gaunt, his suit rumpled. Grace. Finally. He moved toward her. You've been ignoring my messages. Because we have nothing to discuss. The divorce papers are filed. She tried to move past him, but he blocked her path. Don't be stupid. You think that man actually cares about you? Park Min-jae. He spat the name like a curse. He's using you. Men like that don't end up with women like you. You're a novelty, Grace. Something exotic and temporary. When he's done slumming it, he'll go back to his own kind. The racism, casual and cruel, made her see red. Move. Now. Ji-won meant nothing. Ji-won is welcome to you. You deserve each other. Grace Gold's voice was ice. You deserve someone as shallow and cruel as you are. Someone who'll cheat on you the way you cheated on me. Someone who'll make you feel as small and worthless as you made me feel. I made you feel small. I tried to help you. Alfred's voice rose. I tried to motivate you to lose weight, to be better. You tried to destroy me, she corrected quietly. But you failed. I'm still here. I'm still standing. And I'm done letting you have any power over me. You'll regret this. When your Korean prince gets bored. Mr. Alfred. A new voice, smooth and cold, cut through the lobby. Min-jae emerged from the elevator, dressed in an impeccable suit, flanked by two men in dark glasses. I believe the lady asked you to leave. Alfred paled. This is none of your business. Grace Gold's well-being is absolutely my business. Min-jae moved to stand beside her, his presence solid and reassuring. And you're harassing her. I have security footage of you waiting in this lobby for over an hour. I have screenshots of your threatening messages. I have grounds for a restraining order. You can't. I can. I have an excellent legal team. Min-jae's smile didn't reach his eyes. Now you have two choices. You can leave Grace Gold alone permanently. No calls, no messages, no accidentally running into her. You'll communicate only through lawyers about the divorce. Or, he paused meaningfully. I can make your life very difficult. I know people. I have resources. And I have absolutely no patience for men who abuse women. Abuse? Alfred sputtered. I never touched her. Abuse isn't just physical, Grace Gold said, finding her voice. It's every cruel word. Every comparison. Every time you made me feel worthless. Every time you cheated and made it my fault. That's abuse, Alfred. And I'm done being your victim. Alfred looked between them, and for a moment, Grace Gold saw something flicker in his eyes. Regret, maybe, or recognition of what he'd lost. But then his expression hardened. You'll come crawling back, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. When this fantasy falls apart. It won't, Min-jae said simply. Because unlike you, I know how to value what I have. Now leave. Don't make me call the police. Alfred left. Grace Gold didn't realize she was shaking until Min-jae's arm came around her shoulders. Are you okay? He murmured. How did you know he'd be here? She asked. I didn't. But you mentioned he'd been watching you. So I had my security team monitor your building. When they reported an unidentified man waiting in the lobby for an extended period, I came. Immediately. He turned her gently to face him. I'm sorry if that's overstepping. I just wanted you to be safe. It's not overstepping, she whispered. It's thank you. I couldn't have faced him alone. You could have, Min-jae said firmly. You were magnificent. But you don't have to be alone anymore. Not if you don't want to be. She leaned into him, and he held her, right there in the lobby, until she stopped shaking. The next 3 months passed in a blur of happiness Grace Gold hadn't thought possible. Min-jae courted her properly. Flowers delivered to her apartment, surprise lunch dates, late-night phone calls that lasted until dawn. He introduced her to his mother, a formidable woman who'd looked Grace Gold up and down, then declared, You make my son smile again. Good. He was too serious before. They went to art galleries and hiking trails, cooked together in his enormous penthouse kitchen, where she taught him to make proper jollof rice, much to his delight, binged terrible Korean dramas while eating takeout. He came to her African dance class and gamely attempted the moves, laughing at his own lack of rhythm. She attended his business dinners and charmed his associates with her intelligence and wit. And slowly, carefully, they learned each other's bodies, the geography of pleasure, the language of touch. Min-jae worshipped every curve, every inch of her, making her feel desired in ways Alfred never had. He whispered Korean endearments against her skin, called her Jae-jae, honey, and sarung love. Looked at her like she hung the moon. I'm falling in love with you, he admitted one night as they lay tangled in his sheets, Seoul's lights twinkling beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. Is that okay? Is it too soon? Grace Gold traced the line of his jaw, her heart full. I'm falling in love with you too, she confessed. And no, it's not too soon. It's perfect timing. He kissed her then, deep and slow, and she felt herself falling further. The divorce was finalized on a rainy Tuesday in February. Grace Gold stood outside the courthouse, holding the papers that officially ended her marriage, and felt light. Free. Min-jae was waiting by his car, umbrella in hand. When he saw her, his face broke into a smile. How do you feel? He asked, sheltering her from the rain. Like I can breathe again, she said honestly. Like I'm finally me again. Then let's celebrate. He opened the car door for her. I have a surprise for you. The surprise was a private hanok, a traditional Korean house he'd rented for the evening, complete with a private chef preparing a fusion of African and Korean cuisine. Candles lit the space, soft music played, and rose petals decorated the floor. Min-jae, Grace Gold breathed, overwhelmed. This is too much. It's not enough, he corrected, taking her hands. Grace Gold, these past months with you have been the happiest of my life. You challenge me, inspire me, make me want to be better. You've taught me that love isn't about possession or control. It's about partnership, about lifting each other up. He dropped to one knee, and Grace Gold's breath caught. I know this is fast, Min-jae said, pulling out a black velvet box. I know you just got out of a marriage, and maybe you're not ready for another one. But I also know that life is short, and when you find someone who makes you feel alive, you hold on to them. So I'm not asking you to marry me, not yet. I'm asking you to build a future with me, to let me love you the way you deserve. And when you're ready, a year from now, 5 years, whenever, to consider spending the rest of your life with me. He opened the box. Inside was a stunning ring, a black diamond surrounded by smaller white diamonds, set in platinum. Black diamond for your beautiful skin, he explained softly. And white diamonds for the light you bring to my life. Will you accept this? As a promise? As a symbol of my commitment to you? Tears streamed down Grace Gold's face. Yes, she whispered. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring on her finger, a perfect fit, and stood to kiss her. This kiss was different from all the others. It was a promise, a commitment, a beginning. I love you, he murmured against her lips. My beautiful, brilliant, extraordinary Grace Gold. I love you too, she said, laughing and crying at once. My Min-jae. Alfred heard about the engagement through mutual friends. Grace Gold's promise ring had been noticed at a charity gala she'd attended with Min-jae. The photos had made the society pages. Billionaire Park Min-jae and his beautiful partner Dazzle at charity event. He showed up at Elite Fitness 2 weeks later, clearly drunk, demanding to see Grace Gold. She's not here, the front desk receptionist said nervously. Sir, you need to leave. I need to see Grace. She's making a mistake. Alfred's voice echoed through the gym. That man doesn't love her. He's using her. Grace Gold, who'd been in a personal training session, heard the commotion and came out to the lobby. Min-jae was right behind her. Alfred, you need to leave, she said firmly. You're violating the restraining order. I'll leave when you admit this is all for show. Alfred lunged forward, and Min-jae stepped between them instantly. You're trying to prove something, that you can get a rich man, that you're desirable, but we both know the truth. You're settling because you're afraid of being alone. You don't love him. You're right, Grace Gold said calmly. I was settling. With you. I stayed in a loveless marriage for 7 years because I was afraid. But I'm not afraid anymore. Grace, I love Min-jae, she continued, her voice strong. I love him because he sees me. The real me. Not the woman you tried to mold me into. Not some smaller, quieter, less black version. Me. He loves my curves, my laugh, my intelligence, my culture. He builds me up instead of tearing me down. He's proud to stand beside me, not ashamed. You think that'll last? Alfred sneered. Wait until the newness wears off. Wait until he's bored. If you ever speak to my fiancé again, Min-jae said quietly, but with steel in his voice, I will destroy you. Not just legally, though I absolutely will press charges for this violation. But professionally, socially, I will make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man you are. How you treated your wife. How you betrayed her. How you're harassing her now. Do you understand me? Alfred's face had gone white. Security had arrived, 2 large men flanking him. You deserve each other. Alfred spat as they escorted him toward the door. A desperate woman and a man with a fetish. That's enough. Min-jae's voice cracked like a whip. Take him out. Now. And call the police. I want him arrested for violating the restraining order. As Alfred was forcibly removed, still shouting obscenities, Grace Gold realized the entire gym had gone silent. Everyone was watching. Her first instinct was shame, to apologize, to make herself small. But then Min Jae turned to her, cupped her face gently, and kissed her forehead. "Are you okay, Jae-jae?" And suddenly, she didn't care who was watching. "I'm perfect," she said, and meant it. Min Jae addressed the room, his voice carrying authority. "I apologize for the disturbance. That man will not be allowed on the premises again. Please continue your workouts." Then, more softly, just to her, "Let's go home." Home. The words settled in her chest like warmth. "Yes," she agreed. "Let's go home." Alfred was arrested, charged with violating the restraining order, and ultimately fired from his job when Min Jae's legal team revealed the embezzlement Alfred had been covering up for months. Funds he'd been using to lavish gifts on Ji-won. The scandal made headlines, and Ji-won, seeing Alfred's financial prospects evaporate, left him for a senior partner at another firm. Grace Gold heard about it through the grapevine and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication, just a vague sense of relief that it was finally, truly over. He got what he deserved, her friend Maya said over video chat from Atlanta. "Karma is real, girl." "Maybe," Grace Gold said, absently twisting her promise ring. "Or maybe he just finally faced the consequences of his choices. Either way, it's not my problem anymore. Look at you, all zen and healed." Maya grinned. "This Min Jae must be something special. When do I get to meet him?" "Soon, actually. We're flying to Atlanta next month. He wants to meet my family properly." "Properly? Girl, you've been FaceTiming us every week. We already love him. My mama's already planning the menu for when y'all visit." Grace Gold laughed. "Tell her not to go too crazy." Too late. She's making her whole repertoire. Collard greens, mac and cheese, fried chicken, sweet potato pie, the works. She wants to make sure your man knows how to appreciate good food. "He appreciates everything," Grace Gold said softly. "That's what's so amazing. He genuinely wants to know about my life, my culture, my family. He's taking Yoruba lessons online, so he can greet my grandmother properly. He's learning to make fufu without YouTube tutorials. He cares, Maya." "That's what love looks like," Maya said gently. "Real love. The kind that shows up and does the work. I'm so happy for you, Grace. You deserve this." After they hung up, Grace Gold sat in Min Jae's penthouse. Their penthouse now. She'd officially moved in last month, and reflected on how much her life had changed in less than a year. She'd started a blog about her experiences as a Black woman in Korea, which had gained a surprising following. She'd been invited to speak at expat events, had connected with other Black women navigating similar challenges. She'd found her voice again, and she'd found herself. The gym routine that had started as therapy had become a genuine passion. She was stronger now, not smaller, but stronger. Her body was powerful, capable of things she'd never imagined. She could deadlift her own weight, run a 5K without stopping, hold a plank for 3 minutes. Her body was a temple, not a prison, and she'd stopped apologizing for taking up space. "Hey, beautiful." Min Jae's voice pulled her from her thoughts. He'd just gotten home from work, loosening his tie as he crossed the room to kiss her. "What are you thinking about?" "How happy I am," she said honestly. "How grateful." He sat beside her, pulling her into his arms. "I'm the grateful one. You changed my life, Grace Gold. Before you, I was just going through the motions. Work, gym, sleep, repeat. You taught me how to live again. How to laugh. How to love without fear." "We healed each other," she murmured, resting her head on his chest. "Two broken people making each other whole." "Not broken," he corrected gently. "Wounded. There's a difference. Broken things can't be fixed. Wounded things heal, and healing makes them stronger." She tilted her face up to kiss him. "When did you become such a philosopher?" "Since I met a woman who makes me want to understand everything about life and love." He smiled against her lips. "Speaking of which, I have something for you." "Min Jae, you just bought me that car last week." "It's not a thing I bought. It's a question I want to ask. He pulled back slightly, his expression suddenly serious. We've been together for 10 months. I know I said I'd wait until you were ready, but Grace Gold, I'm ready. I wake up every morning grateful you're beside me. I go to sleep every night planning our future. I want to marry you. Not because I'm afraid of losing you, but because I'm certain I want to spend my life with you. Her heart was racing. Min-jae, I know the promise ring was supposed to buy us time, but I don't want to wait. Life is short. We both know that. We've both wasted enough time with people who didn't deserve us. He cupped her face. Marry me, Grace Gold. Let me be your husband. Let me spend the rest of my life showing you what real love looks like. Yes, she breathed, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I'll marry you. I'll marry you tomorrow if you want. He laughed, joyful and relieved. Tomorrow might be too soon for the wedding my mother is already planning in her head. But soon. Very soon. He kissed her then, deep and passionate, and Grace Gold felt the last pieces of her broken heart fuse back together, stronger than before. They married 6 months later in a ceremony that blended both their cultures beautifully. Grace Gold wore 2 dresses. A traditional Korean hanbok for the morning ceremony, custom-made in deep purple silk that made her skin glow, and a stunning gold Nigerian wedding gown for the evening reception, complete with a geli headdress that added 6 inches to her height. You look like a queen, Min-jae breathed when he saw her in the Nigerian attire. My queen. And you look like you're about to pass out, she teased. He'd gamely worn traditional Nigerian clothing for the reception, a rich burgundy agbada that surprisingly suited him. I'm just overwhelmed by how beautiful you are. And how lucky I am. The wedding was held at a luxury hotel in Seoul, but they'd flown in Grace Gold's entire family from Atlanta, and the fusion of cultures was magical. Korean and African food lined the buffet tables. A live band played everything from K-pop to Afrobeats. Grace Gold's grandmother danced with Min-jae's mother, both women laughing like old friends. This is perfect, Maya said, hugging Grace Gold tightly during a quiet moment. This is exactly what you deserve, sis. I can't believe it's real, Grace Gold admitted, watching Min-jae across the room as he laughed with her brothers. Sometimes I'm afraid I'll wake up and it'll all have been a dream. It's real. And you made it happen. You chose yourself, Grace. You walked away from what was killing you and toward what was healing you. That took courage. Across the room, Grace Gold caught Min-jae's eye. He excused himself from the conversation and crossed to her, as if drawn by magnetic force. Mrs. Park, he said, taking her hand and kissing it. May I have this dance? You may have all of them, she replied. As they swayed together on the dance floor, surrounded by everyone they loved, Grace Gold thought back to that morning in her apartment when she'd handed Alfred the divorce papers. When he'd told her no one would want her, that she'd come crawling back. He'd been wrong about everything. She hadn't needed someone to want her. She'd needed to want herself first. And now, in Min-jae's arms, she had both self-love and a partner who reflected that love back to her multiplied. What are you thinking about? Min-jae murmured. How far I've come. How different my life is now. Better. Immeasurably. She pulled back to look at him. Thank you for seeing me. The real me. And loving what you saw. Thank you for letting me, he replied. For trusting me with your heart. I promise to guard it for the rest of my life. As the music swelled and the celebration continued around them, Grace Gold realized something profound. She wasn't just beginning a new chapter. She was writing an entirely new story. One where she was both the author and the heroine. Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so as to get notified when we drop new stories. Like and share to family and friends, and finally tell us where you're watching from in the comment section, and we will see you in our next video.